not stepping away from my career. I am furthering my career by making this choice, which I think then men or women or however people identify can make the choice to stay home with children or make other choices to say this will serve. At some point, it will all serve and it will all be a development experience. And it seems like it really goes along with your curiosity to begin with, like you're, making meaning out of things and, learning new things is also a part of it. And it seems like this other thing that the book is going to create huge value for people is let's just get away from all the theories. I think it would be overwhelming to be a leader today. You can't go on LinkedIn without seeing this advice and this advice and this advice. And it seems like you're just boiling it down to say, if you've been in a home or you've been a parent, you have ideas on how to be a great leader, and you don't have to, read everything and study all of these different latest competencies and all of that. Just bottom line it, make it simple. And maybe in the future, when you were talking about like you want to do it from both angles, I'm picturing like, that 10 Little Pigs book about like one half of the book they were dirty and the other half they were clean, and you flip it upside down. Like maybe your book, you're going to have the book is like Manage Like a Mother. One side will be about how you apply it to the workplace, but then the flip side is how you apply it, the workplace to home. And not do like, process maps like I did around, when the babies are up in the middle of the night, which people made fun of me for, but it's like, you could take the girl out of the OD workplace, but you can't take the organization development consultant out of the girl.
It's funny because there's a chapter in my book about time management. And I say, nobody can beat a mom when it comes to time management because, multitasking and getting, your 1, 2, 3 or 4 kids out of the house in the morning, it takes organization. So I think I always said if time management was an Olympic discipline, moms would have the gold medal. They would be the dream team every time, hands down. But I think there's many things that we do again, instinctively as moms, we don't even think about. I'll give you 2 examples. The first one is when you teach your kids how to eat, talk, walk, here's how it plays out. If you teach a child how to walk, you're going to take your baby by the hand. You're going to both hands initially, and you're going to take a couple of steps for a couple of days. And then one day you're going to let go of one hand. And then after a couple of days, you're going to let go of both hands. And the baby's going to take a couple of steps and land on his rear end. Typically, seldom do children just take off, right? What happens at that moment? As a mom, you don't tell your baby, hey, what's wrong with you? You're a year old. You should be walking by now. No, what a mom does is say, great job. Bravo. Let's try that again. And then mom takes the baby's hand again and walks again with the baby until the baby has the confidence and the balance to walk by himself or herself. And then maybe the baby decides, I want to be crawling for another week. And that's fine. And then if the baby cries when he falls, mom will pick up the baby and comfort the baby and make sure that he gets, that he gets his confidence again. Think about all those things you've done instinctively. Now look at the training program that you put together with your team, and you have a new team member. Do they have the opportunity to fail? Do they know it's okay to fail? When they fail, do you encourage them? Do you celebrate progress the way you would do with your baby? Do you give your hand out again to support them and help them through the learning process? Are you willing to extend the learning process if need be? All of those things, you do those things instinctively for your kids. Now just take that and apply. You teach your children how to drive. You don't bring them on the highway during rush hour on the first, outings. You take them around the blocks in the neighborhood on the quiet road so they can get confidence. Same thing. You're not putting one of your team members, you don't throw them in the middle of the fray with none of the skills or very little of the skills that are required. So, all this, all my book is doing is saying like, remember that? Now, apply it to the workplace. Same thing with feedback. We all dread giving feedback, right? Now think about it this way. As a mom, you give feedback every day. You don't wait for Christmas to say, hey, Betsy, you misbehaved this year. Since June, you haven't been doing your chores, you haven't cleaned your room, you've been antagonizing your siblings, so there's not going to be any Christmas presents for you.
Yeah.
Of course not. You don't say that. You every day you tell your child, here's what you're doing, and this is not appropriate, or this is not, acceptable, etc., etc. And you know what? You do all this, and you still love your child unconditionally, right? You do it out of love because as a mom, you want your child to be the best person they can be and give them the best chances in life possible. Now, take that, apply to the workforce. You talk to your team members. When you give them feedback, it's a gift. I'm giving you a gift because I believe that you have the ability to be better, and I believe that you can achieve great things. I believe you can achieve my expectations, and I know you're a great person, and I'm here to develop you. This is a positive thing. This is good. And when you approach giving feedback this way, it's a lot easier on you, and it's a lot easier for the person to receive. Okay, she's here not to tell me that I don't perform well and it's all negative. She's here to make me a better person. And that, I tell you again, something you do instinctively with your kids, now apply it to the workforce. And I have 21 chapters in my book. Every single chapter, it's just that basic, but it's just shining the light on things that connect the two, the mothering and the leadership. And hopefully you can find some very basic and easy answers and solutions that you can implement at work every day.
When I hearing you talk about that, it seems like if you could bottom line it is uh, if you can want what's best for the people that report to you and come from that place, that's a huge first start. Because what you were talking about, when people give feedback, sometimes like people hate feedback because the leader isn't always giving feedback because they care, like a parent cares for a child and wants what's best for them. The feedback comes with tons of judgment. It's vague. It's not like the other day you said this and I'm telling you how to do it differently so you could be better. It's more like these vague generalities. Like that's why I hate when people rate someone against competencies and say, all right, your performance is against a competency. That's just too generic and it feels shaming
Yeah.
rather than, the other day you did this and I'm going to tell you this because I believe in you and I want you to be the best version of whatever this job is. And it seems like it comes from the heart first of like, I want what's in the best interest and I'm not going to shame somebody, for not performing to some vague standard of some kind.
Yeah, and
So
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just one thing I want to add. That's to summarize this. You're absolutely right. And giving feedback is not about judging character. It's about changing a behavior. So there's a big difference between telling somebody, you're arrogant, or you said something that was arrogant. Because when you say to somebody, you're arrogant, there's something very definitive about this. It's something that happens. It's just a general statement that happens all the time. But when you say to somebody, you said something arrogant, first of all, it is based on facts, on a specific thing. And it's one time that you've noticed it. And then it leaves the door open for the opportunity to improve, right?
right.
So there's a difference. And, I haven't been a perfect leader and I haven't been a perfect mom by any stretch of the imagination. But I do know that when you tell a child, you have that kind of general statement, you don't have much credibility because it's not fact based, and it's very demeaning for them if you just blanket, everything, and you make that
Yeah.
blanket statement. Oh, you arrogant, or you lazy, or no. What about saying, well, you did something that you didn't put your best efforts for that specific project. It forces you to be specific with your statement, and that's something that's very important when you give feedback to somebody, or recognition for that matter.
Or even better is instead of saying, even the other day you were arrogant, it's like the other day you said that and it made me feel,
Mhm.
and this is what I prefer. Like just keep it at the behavior. And I think that that's what we try to do as parents. And I think that that translates